Isn't it kind of crazy that it is 2024, almost 2025, and we have the public policy employee at Ripple, Rahul Advani, on stage at a Hong Kong policy summit where the title of this was The Role of Regulation in Securing Digital Assets, and some of the biggest players are on stage with them. For an example, the head of digital policy APAC at HSBC, one of the world's largest banks. You have the Fintech Association of Hong Kong there, the SFC as well of Hong Kong. I mean, it's kind of crazy to really look at some of these events and then just take a step back and realize where we are headed and how intertwined Ripple is with these big names. We're going to get into it. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Let's take a quick look at this. Number one, let's talk about what they talked about. So they convened policy and fintech leaders to discuss virtual asset custody and tokenization. He also had the pleasure of moderating a panel with Elizabeth Wong of the SFC, Kat K of the Fintech Association of Hong Kong, and also a member from HSBC. My takeaways: sustainable market development and commercial models matter. We need to listen to the market and balance between regulatory perfection and market development. Clear regulations are essential for any crypto hub. No regulations, no hub. High standards and a holistic regulatory approach are vital. We also have down here, a few, major highlights of the week. They talk about tokenization, regulatory building blocks, and also virtual asset trading platforms. A lot of these are big moves made to actually provide a forward step to finally get things moving around a lot of these key areas to really start to build a hub in Hong Kong, for an example. We also have some other keynote, noteworthy updates as well. For an example, we have Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing Limited launch a virtual asset index series. We also have the Hong Kong Monetary Authority partnered with the Banco Central de Brazil and also Bank of Thailand on tokenization initiatives. And then the HKMA also completed the initial phase of use cases under Project Assemble and will publish a report with the results in 2025. And also they launched a knowledge repository outlining aspects of digital bond transactions. So a very successful overall summit, but this takes me to the next post here from Subjective Views, which is came across a Singapore fintech report sponsored by Visa, which categorized Ripple under regulated crypto service provider. Because as we start to see these major regulatory discussions like this one over here posted by Rahul Advani, we are starting to see the measurements taken to get to the end goal, which is implementing this type of technology globally. And if we think about this, okay, it's going to start with the biggest banks. If we look at these images, number one, we have Singapore at a glance, okay? And we can see all of the Ripple players or any ties back to Ripple on here as well. You have digital banking solutions, regulated crypto service providers, you have cross-border payments, you even have neobanks, then you also have payments as well. Now also, on the next slide, we have Singapore's 10 largest fintech funding rounds in 2024. Look at some of these big players. Neom, for an example, cross-border payments funding $50 million. These are some of the biggest players out there, and you can see the spotlight put on a lot of these partners. But yes, if you actually look at Ripple, it is under regulated crypto service provider next to FOMOPay, Signum. There's a lot of big players on here as well. There's actually a lot of companies on here that I do have connections back to, like Hedera or XDC and a few other ones as well. But it is very interesting to see Ripple under that category. Now, also over here, we have the role that Ripple is playing in the industry is to really help bridge traditional finance and decentralized finance. This is Ripple's SVP of product. Check it out.
You're now our SVP of product. You're leading the charge on the next stage of our product suite. And so what can you tell us about where things are going in 2025?
So in general, in the bigger picture, I think the role that Ripple is playing in the industry is to really help bridge traditional finance and decentralized finance. So the traditional financial rails and the whole system has been built up over several decades and really over a couple of centuries, and has had a ton of time to establish itself, perfect itself, and weave itself into the fabric of society. Blockchain, in contrast, naturally is pretty new. It's evolving very quickly, but it has a long ways to go to have the kind of reach that traditional financial system does. So we're not going to see traditional financial companies lift and shift their entire business model and move it over to the blockchain in the next few years, potentially even in the next few decades. And what we really need to do is provide a bridge between the two worlds. The reason this is important is the two financial systems do need each other. Traditional financial systems need to take advantage of the capabilities and the benefits that blockchain can bring if they want to stay competitive. And blockchain companies, crypto companies, need traditional financial institutions because that's where the vast majority of the assets are. That's where the vast majority of the liquidity is. These companies have established themselves deeply into society and have very strong networks and infrastructure. And that, of course, is where the vast majority of the customers are as well. So Ripple, with its history, having been born as a crypto company, but also spent most of its life working very closely with some of the top financial institutions, traditional financial institutions in the world, is very equipped to play this role. The initial payments product that Ripple released, which is still going strong, is a pure fiat to fiat payment system with no crypto involved. So Ripple knows the crypto world very well. It knows the traditional financial world very well. And now with a more complete portfolio to be able to tokenize, store, exchange, and move crypto assets, I think Ripple is just very well equipped to address this. And I'm really excited about what we have on our roadmap in the next few months and coming in 2025.
All right.
And he's 100% correct, right? Ripple has been at the forefront of this. They've been realizing this is going to be happening. So they knew to get behind this early on so that they have a foot ahead of almost every single other player in this space. As we think about that, okay, look at all of the connections to Ripple. Look at all of the players that they have been intertwined with. Now think about that at the same exact time that, we take a step back and we look at how many of these institutions are now here openly. And when I say openly, if you go back 5, 6, 7 years, a lot of them were quiet. A lot of them were very, very quiet. So if we're thinking about that and all of the connections that Ripple has, they're already that bridge. They're already that bridge with traditional finance. They already have all of these massive banks tied to them. Over here, big shout to Tokenizer for this. Ripple's putting a focus in bank-grade custody. The best part, IBM's right alongside them in this mission to bring digital asset custody to banking. This technically began in May of 2023 when Ripple XRP acquired digital asset custody firm Medico. Since then, the progress has been clear. It's quite interesting to see that they've now collaborated on multiple accords with IBM to provide bank-grade custody. Just a little under a year ago today, we saw Ripple's Medico and IBM officially begin this initiative together. Then in early October, we saw Ripple officially launching a new digital asset custody solution. And now just most recently, we saw Garanti BBVA, the third largest bank in all of Turkey, adopt the solution. As of 2023, it was reported that 98 of the top 100 global banks use IBM MQ finance messaging middleware. And on top of this, we also know that IBM is arguably the most involved Fortune 500 in Hyperledger Fabric 2. Ripple's redefining enterprise-grade custody with an industry leader here. Pair this with everything from Ripple Payments to Ripple's CBDC platform, the puzzle pieces are coming together. And yes, as we think about this, right, Ripple has been targeting banks since day one. They have been at the forefront while everyone is still focused on meme coins and focused on this, focused on that, or even while everyone was focused on escaping the big banks, escaping the traditional world. Ripple was there trying to build a bridge to it. So Ripple has the upper hand here. Ripple, in my opinion, is so far ahead of everyone in this space, it's not even a question. And this is why when we think about what they're trying to, push with, custody grade services, payment services, you can start to see the reality setting in that, Ripple is here for the big banks. They're going to start to push the big banks through the XRP ledger with XRP as well. Even over here, big shout to Smoke Dog, Finastra webinar. We are at a profound moment in history. The first time all payments are moving from analog to digital. This is a once-in-a-generation shift. For thousands of years, money has been exchanged through physical means like cash, checks, and coins. That system remained unchanged until now. As this webinar highlights, financial institutions are closely following this digital transformation in payments. Blockchain is leading the charge and will bring immense value along with it. And smart money isn't sitting on the sidelines. listen, now I'm going to play this in a second, but I also want to take you guys over real quick to this quick guide for banks. I'm not even going to open it, but this is from Ripple. This is digital asset custody, and we actually have here that the finance sector is evolving as tokenization institutional adoption of digital assets soars. To drive revenue from emerging digital asset use cases, banks need secure, scalable custody infrastructure trusted by leading global financial institutions. Ripple Custody is a bank-grade solution for accessing and engaging with tokenized assets beyond, or including tokenized securities, crypto trading, and beyond. And yeah, listen, as we look at what's happening here, custody needs to be at the forefront of all of this because everything's going on chain. Everything will be tokenized, just like we see over here. Everything is going to be tokenized on chain and it needs to be exchanged, but it also needs to be secure. The best way to do that is through bank-grade custody solutions, something that Ripple has been pushing for a while. Even over here, as demand for digital assets grows, secure custody solutions like Ripple Custody are must-haves for banks. Our digital asset custody guide offers a blueprint for managing digital assets to unlock revenue and drive customer trust in this $20 trillion market. Check this out.
Wrong way of looking at it. I think the real issue that we have here is it's a very profound change that we're going through. And it's a great time to be in payments because there's never been a time before in our industry where we've moved from analog payments, because that's what everything has been before, to digital payments. And instant payments around the world are pretty much all now being deployed as digital instant payments. And that makes a huge, huge difference. And I think, therefore, that paradigm is probably the most important thing. We talk about instant payments, but actually, if you juxtapose the two, we're really talking about the move from analog, as I say, to digital. And that is the most profound piece. Long way of looking.
And yeah, as we really look at payments, as we look at finance in general, I keep telling you guys, this is the last major step, in the evolution of money. It's the last thing that's going to go digital. We look at everything outside of money and think about it. Everything is now digital. The way that you receive, mail has gone digital. The way that you, order things from the store, you buy things from the store, most of it gets delivered through e-commerce, online. When we look at majority of everything around us, it is now digital. A lot of the things that were based on paper-based processes are going digital. The last major thing is money, payments, and it's now in progress. And as we think about digital asset custody, yes, Ripple is at the forefront of this market. And even over here, we have crypto and artificial intelligence could be a $20 trillion mega trend, Bitwise says. This goes back to June 12th. The two industries could add a collective $20 trillion to global GDP by 2030. And this is where we start to see, the big move happening around tokenization. Because everything will be tokenized on chain. Every single dollar will be on chain. Even if we look at the breakdown from Ripple, aka the crypto custody breakdown, here we have that as digital assets continue their march towards mainstream finance, institutional crypto custody services are becoming mission-critical offerings for banks looking to remain competitive. The ability to securely store, manage, and safeguard crypto assets and tokenized assets will determine whether banks are able to meet rising demand for new asset classes and position themselves at the forefront of this $20 trillion market opportunity. Amidst this shift, Ripple's new digital asset custody quick guide for banks provides a blueprint for evaluating and deploying institutional-grade custody infrastructure to build trust, drive growth, and unlock new revenue streams. And it's because they also realize that, here we have overall up to 10% of all financial assets are expected to be tokenized by 2030. 10% of all financial assets by 2030. Think about that, right? If the first 10% is by 2030, what do you think the next 10% will be? Probably a year after that? Not even. It's going to balloon into a massive on-chain network effect of tokenized assets, digital currencies, all being mixed around on these networks, being traded 24/7. I mean, this is where we start to see the big money moves being made. And again, what's crazy about all of this is This is all based around institutions, the big banks. The same big banks, the same big institutions that everyone made fun of Ripple and XRP for, 6-7 years ago. That's how long these bridges have been being created by Ripple. And it's so funny when you look back and you see the comments about like, oh, XRP is the banker's coin. XRP is for banks. XRP is for this. I'd rather buy my Bitcoin, even though everyone now has been celebrating BlackRock. It's so funny because Ripple was at the forefront of all of this and people fail to realize how early they were. And guess what? Now today, it's going to pay off in a very large way as we start to see this next shift from retail to institutions. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.